Welcome to the Cerebral Edge with strength and conditioning specialist Coach Chris. Join us for the next 30 minutes as Coach Chris shares ways to improve your health in all areas of your life. Along with his special guests, he strives to give you that cerebral edge to help make you 1% better every day. Now, here's Coach Chris.
This is Power Talk 1040 KPPF. Welcome to the show. This is the show that aims to give you the edge to get you 1% better every day. Add it all up to 365 days a year, and you're well on your way to be a better version of yourself. And I got my very special guest with me, Joe Ruggiero from A Different Kind of Strong. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Chris. Always good to be on.
All right. And today what we're going to be talking about is how comfort is a killer.
Yeah. I mean, we're always looking for it.
Always looking for comfort, right? Especially where?
I mean, especially when it comes to sitting. Relaxing, whether it's at work, whether it's on the couch. We're always looking for that super comfy spot, or like picturing it throughout the day. Oh, I can't wait to be on that couch, watch some TV, you know?
Yeah, for sure. The other place that we're going to talk about is shoes, right? So how shoes are actually, to your detriment, even the more comfortable they are, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. A lot of times when we're thinking about all this comfort, we want to walk on a cloud all the time. Walk on a cloud, that's awesome. But how much does that elevate you up and make you unstable?
Right.
You know, how stable is a cloud?
Not very, right?
Yeah.
Just like when I see people squatting with them and they're, you know, not able to get to depth because their body's tight because they feel unstable.
Or you see them constantly catching themselves because the cloud doesn't give them anything to grab on, like their toes don't know what they're doing.
Yep, absolutely. And then the last thing we're going to talk about today is actually seeking discomfort, which you should be doing with yourself all the time to make you better, right? To build up your own autonomy, self-autonomy, and discipline.
That resiliency.
Yep. So first, we're going to get into shoes, right? So some of the biggest shoes that I see in the gym right now are some called hookahs, right?
Yeah, actually, that is the one that I was thinking of too. They look like they're jacked up, almost like a stilt.
Oh my gosh!
To me, I'm like, why would you have a shoe that is like 1.5 inches thick? Are we wearing high heels now to work out? What's going on? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then, like you said, when you're at the gym and you're watching people work out in these hookahs here, you can almost see that they're having difficulty right off the bat holding the weight, much less even dipping down in the squat, just even maintaining a stability stance with weight.
Absolutely. And then I actually got me a pair a while ago. And when I got my pair a while ago, it actually made my knees start to hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. After a while, I was like, man, my knees are starting to kill me. I don't know.
Did you find that it was like because it was a set pad, it was kind of pushing you forward all the time?
I think it does that. It kind of rocks you back and forth. But the other thing it does, right, is a lot of shoes do, is the front's kind of lifted, right? So when the front of your shoe's lifted, it brings your big toe up, right? And your big toe is meant to anchor and ground you, so it's meant to hold on. And what that does, right, is it really engages your posterior chain. So again, so that forward momentum, and I was getting a lot of probably more quad engagement. Yeah. And it was really wearing my knee down quite a bit. And then as soon as I went back to like something like a Vibram or a Zero, my knees were feeling really good.
Yeah, I mean, it makes all the sense. Just like what you're saying, your toes aren't able to grab. Your toes are meant to stabilize you. You're meant to hold you, meant to push off things. That big toe is real important. I don't think people understand it. Like if you didn't have a big toe, how hard it would be to walk.
Oh my gosh, balance.
I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Like just even if you wanted to walk up the stairs, that's what you're pushing off of. So if that is already in a compromised position, how functional is that?
Well, that's how I have people squat, how I have them do any pulling, anything, is when they are grounded, even lat pull downs, I'd be like, drive your big toe in the ground because that'll drive your hips forward, right? And then all of a sudden you're locked in. The other thing I'll do is I'll do muscle testing. And I'll show people of how important that is, because a lot of people are like, what's my big toe got to do with all this stuff? And I'll take them into where their glutes at their strongest position, right? And I'll say, just relax your foot. And I'll push, on their hamstring and their leg will fall right down, right? Because their glutes actually hold up because they're face down.
Yeah.
So they're pushing their glute up to the sky. I'll push down their hamstring, and all of a sudden that leg will fall to the ground. Then I'll say, take your big toe and hook it back into your shoe. Now hold it up. And then I won't be able to move it.
Yeah.
That's how directly tied your big toe and your glute are.
Yes, exactly.
Right? So if you have a compromised big toe, you're going to have dysfunction down your posterior chain, or your back musculature, I should say. So like your glutes, your hamstrings, you're going to find a lot of tightness, again, because you're trying to find that stability, right? Because your ankle's rocking around all the time.
Yeah, I mean, your foot's constantly working to find. It's like, so this is something we talked about just before. Is I had somebody that came to me, and so they bought those. I'm not sure if they were that style shoe, but it was built very much the same. Big old thick pad cushion thing. You know, they were working on a concrete floor, dishwashing or whatever it is, and they said their feet are killing them. Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense because I did this test with him just to help him see. I had him put the shoes on, and I pushed him. Well, he stumbled all over the place. Mm-hmm. Take the shoes off. I pushed him. He didn't move. Mm-hmm. Why? Because his toes could lock in. Why? Because his feet were secure to the ground. Mm-hmm. And his body felt secure. His mind was saying, I have stable ground to stand on. Yep. That's how unstable those shoes are. I didn't push him very hard. Same thing, right from the chest, right from the front. He saw it coming and everything. Right. And he could not stop himself from moving with the shoes on. But without the shoes, I would not move him just by pushing them.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing it does, right, is when you feel unstable is your brain doesn't feel safe. Yeah. So what happens, you get really, really tight, right? So all of a sudden people goes, man, I got really tight hamstrings. And I'll sit there and I'll have them go with the shoes off. I'll say, all right, take your shoes off, do a forward bend, right? And they'll do a forward bend, and they might get, mid-shin or something like that, or their foot. And I put the shoes on, and all of a sudden they bend over there at their knees, and they can't bend over any further because their brain's so freaked out because it's like, I can't find stability anywhere, so I need to tighten things down. Yeah. Right? And then all of a sudden you take them out and you start doing some foot strength with them, hamstrings will loosen right up, right?
So like you take something like that, what you just said, and people are wondering why they have such back issues and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're walking in shoes that don't make you feel like you have a secure step, that don't make you feel secure mentally, so your body starts to over-engage muscle groups to compromise for that, to make up for that, to give you some type of stability within it, then you go and you sit in your car and you drive 45 minutes home with that tightness. Then you get out of the car like, oh man, my lower back. Well, because the shoes you're walking in caused the lower back issues due to this chain reaction. Yep. It's interesting to me that because we look for comfort so much, we lose also the aspect of uncomfortability. I mean, really, like, say I wear Vibrams, you wear, what is it that you wear?
I wear Zero shoes.
Zero shoes. So very minimal, nice wide toe box, toes can flex and move the way they want to. So with that, my body is always sure of how it's stepping. Always sure. It's all like I can be pushed at any moment. I will have a good, sure step. My body's not working harder than it needs to.
And you can grip the ground really well.
Yeah. Yeah. If I need to get out of the way of something real quick, I notice, say for a quick example, crossing the street. I was with a friend. He was wearing similar comfortable shoes because, he wants his knees to feel better or whatever, even though it's not going to help him in the long run. Just helps him for the first 20 minutes that he puts them on. Yeah, because they're super comfy, But then when the car is coming and he's not really seeing that we're crossing the road, I take off. He's still in the road. I just took two quick steps. I'm way out of the way. Yeah. He's trying to do the same thing, and he's kind of stumbling along. Like, it's that noticeable.
Yeah, it can be for sure. So for you listeners out there that are wondering what I can do, right, we've named a couple shoes that are really good, Vibram and Zero shoes. Just start with maybe an hour a day, right? Wearing them. You can, an hour a day is not going to kill you.
Walk around barefoot a little bit more, too.
Walk around
To be honest, I know everybody's like, oh, barefoot, ground's dirty or whatever. Who cares, man? I'm telling you right now, for one, connect yourself to the earth a little bit, and then two, that functionality that your body will have, that security that it will have, and the strength that you'll develop being barefoot is hands over to everything that you do in life.
Ground yourself into the earth.
Ground yourself is right.
That's right. Plus, what did our ancestors do, right?
Yeah.
Did they look at the ground and go, "Ah, it's kind of filthy. I better not.
Yeah,
I better not step on it." You know?
I mean, I grew up in Vermont, so I grew up being barefoot all the time. My mom was barefoot all the time. The only person I don't think was ever barefoot was my dad because he's working. But other than that, all the way up, even in high school, I'm running barefoot across the parking lot to go catch the bus for football or something, you know, because I didn't have time to put my shoes on. Like that I know that sometimes makes people shriek. Some people, oh man, that's got to be so painful. But it's only painful because we've been looking for comfort for so long. You don't have any ability to push yourself in that area.
Yep. And then the other thing is how do you break an arch, right? You push up on it. So supports, break your arch.
I mean, it's funny that you say that. This is something that I had a fasciitis issue. I had some tendon, not tendon, but I had Achilles issues and flat foot was what I was told my whole life, flat foot. So 10 years ago, I started wearing Vibrams. That all went away. Every bit of it. That supposed flat foot where I don't have an arch, my arch is great. I have no problem with any of my feet. I don't have a problem with my fasciitis or anything because I always kept looking for the trendy thing and the comfortable shoes, which was like those skateboard shoes. You know, it was a cool thing for a while. And then, like, again, I was in the comfort zone trying to be like, hey, these shoes, Nike's telling me these shoes are what I need to live. You know, these are supposed to be super awesome.
Right.
You know, and we have recommended a few different kinds like Vibrams and Zero shoes, but there's many kinds out there. There's many kinds of even Nike has one that's a pretty minimal wide box toe. That would be a great place to start. Not to finish, not to call it good, but look for those wide toe box shoes that have a very minimal tread depth.
Yeah. And then in the gym, you know, look, or even at home, you can do this stuff at home, is just finding exercises to strengthen your feet.
Yeah.
Right. But people oftentimes go, it takes a little bit of work and it kind of hurts. And it's like, well, yeah, but in the long run, it's going to feel good.
Yeah. I mean, anything that you make stronger is going to make life a lot easier for yourself.
Especially when you're dealing with something as foundational as a foot.
I mean, think about it. Everything starts, we always talk about the foundation, right? We talk about our legs. Like, that's a nice thing that's kind of been out there. That trend is out there. Don't miss leg day. You know, get your legs in. But now we got to bring it down a little further. Don't miss foot day, guys. You know, get it in. Walk barefoot around.
Yeah.
You know, get some of those exercises even being like, say, get a lacrosse ball, roll your foot around it, you know, whatever it may be, start to do some more things barefoot.
Yeah, exactly. Just build up foot strength. Foot strength will transfer into overall everyday strength, right? Because all of a sudden you have your I call it aligning the tires, right?
Yeah.
So that way you're not like, so if you have an unaligned tire, right, you're going to wear the tread down on one side and you're not going to have tires for very long. Same thing with your joints, right? You have misaligned feet, you're going to start wearing the joints down a lot faster than if they're aligned, right?
Yep, most definitely.
But anyway, great info today on the Cerebral Edge. I'm Coach Chris, and my guest today is Joe Ruggiero. Let's take a minute and pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is Power Talk 1040 KPPF. We are back on Power Talk 1040 KPPF. This is the Cerebral Edge. And I have my buddy Joe Ruggiero, and we're talking about discomfort. Start getting uncomfortable. Stop living for comfort, right, Joe?
Let's do it, guys. Let's look for the cold water. Let's look for the rough spot on the ground over there. All that stuff is going to help build resiliency and give you benefits like we were just talking about with our shoes.
Right. So one of the big things that, you know, is becoming almost a pandemic, right, is sitting all day. Right?
Oh, man.
Chairs, right? Couches.
We were just talking about, I mean, couches are just one of the examples that I like to use because if you look at a couch, look at the depth of that couch to the back of the seat. Now, you are always in a compromised position with your back to sit on that thing.
Yep.
You're rounded right out. You look like a banana. I mean, how good do you think that is for you? Yeah, it might be comfortable because it's soft, but what do you think it's doing for you?
Hips are forward, rib cage is back.
Man, it's horrible. And then you wonder why when you're doing something physical, it bothers you. Well, because you just beat your body all up.
Yeah, or you're sitting there at your desk all day, right, and you're typing.
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients that are desk workers, so they're forward, their shoulders are forward, their head's forward, and then they come in, they're like, I don't know why I have shoulder pain, or I don't know why I have back pain, or neck pain. And it's like, well, that's because of the way you're sitting all day, basically.
Let's change it up. Like I believe, I don't know if this number has grown or not, but a few years ago I did some research, and I found that like 70% of the world doesn't sit on chairs.
No.
They don't have a chair. They sit on the floor. Why do they sit up? They might have a pillow underneath them, but they are on the floor with legs to the side, stretching your hips out, legs in front of them, stretching the hamstrings out. Like they're just doing it in their natural day-to-day.
When people come to me and they're like, oh, well, squatting is just so bad for your knees, I'm like, I was over in Iraq, right? There was 70-year-olds. Or they look 70. I don't know. Maybe they're 30. But I think they're pretty old. 70, maybe even 80 years old, right?
Yeah.
And they were sitting in a full squat.
Yeah.
Toes forward, knees out, sitting down, back up, just chilling out. How many 70 or 80-year-olds do you know in the United States of America right now can do that?
I don't know many that can sit on a chair very easily.
Right.
Like usually even that depth is a little much.
Yeah.
Sitting back with no hands back on that chair or to like guide you into it. And it's just because we are taken so far away from that. Really, how uncomfortable would it be if you did it all the time too? If you got on the floor all the time, how uncomfortable is that? It's only uncomfortable because the mindset that we have and the stuff we have been given. Oh, look, this couch, it's a lot easier to access because it's 18 inches off the ground. Look, I could just sit on it real quick. Versus, I got to put a knee down to get down there.
And it's comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. It's all cushy.
So some things that I'll have people start to do is start to go on the ground, right? Instead of sitting in the chair watching TV, I'm like, just spend 5-10 minutes on the ground, right?
Yeah.
And don't stay in the same position because then, you will jack yourself. But move around a little bit. Sit in seiza for a while, right? So that's where you're sitting on your shins and your knees are up, right? Sit in like a shin box position. So like have your knees to one side, knees to the other side, crisscross applesauce. Have your legs straight in front of you and just move around position, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like
reach
crawling
position,
again.
tuck one leg in, press the other one out.
Yep.
Keep switching it up. The reason why I am so against couches is because it's comfortable enough that you don't pay attention to how uncomfortable you are. Like we're saying right now, like if you sat in a sit and reach position, you're going to be uncomfortable probably about 5-10 minutes into it, somewhere within that. And you're going to move because you're stretching. But that's on the floor. It's not cushioning you. It's not giving you this nice little pad to sit on. So when the couch is giving you the pad to sit on, you're not thinking about, I've been in this position for 2.5 hours watching this movie. I wonder why my back hurts, you know? Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And then the more you do it, the more your body will adapt to it. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, it's not as uncomfortable to sit with my feet sprawled out in front of me anymore. Yeah. Or I can sit in crisscross applesauce for longer. Or I can sit in a seiza position for longer, right? I mean,
I feel like it kind of frustrates me when I think of, we were talking about that deep squat earlier, when everybody's like talking about it being the Asian squat. Now, why is it an Asian squat? Like, it's just because they do it more? Yeah, that's cool. I could do it too, though. It took me a while because we don't normally do it. It wasn't a practice. So about 15 years ago, I said, I'm going to be able to do this. There's no way I shouldn't be able to just sit with my butt touching my ankles and just kind of do my thing there and come right out of it like nothing, not have any tension. My knees aren't like I have to flick them out a little bit to get them to move, any of that. So just worked on it. And if I did that from a child, like if you look at a baby come up and it goes up to something like a toy and it's able to walk, just like a toddler, just able to walk, they go over and they squat.
Yeah.
They
Perfect.
squat right down, that butt to ankles every single
Toes
time.
forward, too.
Toes forward, perfectly flat, nice flat back and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
So I'm like, if they can do that, why did I lose that ability?
Yeah.
That was my exact thought when I watched this toddler that I'm just thinking of. And I said, you know what? I need to be able to do that. I have been able to do that, and it has changed everything from my hips, my lower back. Like, I can't even explain. I even work like that, like we were talking about before. Like, if you have a desk job, it would be a real good idea to get maybe a desk that's on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, about 10, 12 inches off the floor, something that holds it up so you can move your legs around underneath it, to the side of you, whatever it might be. The benefits are going to be substantial.
Oh, absolutely. But it's uncomfortable, right? So this is the last point that I kind of really want to make is you have to seek discomfort and be okay with it.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that we're talking about, it takes a little time and it's uncomfortable to do, right? Especially the things that we're about to get into, like cold showers, right?
Yeah.
Cold showers is another huge ones that I have. Even my nephew, I told him to start doing them because it's going to help build his mental fortitude and his discipline, for one.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I was looking at a study for cold showers, and I got this from Andrew Huberman. And it increases your dopamine levels to the same levels as cocaine, but for 12 hours, right? So 12 hours, and cocaine only does it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Cold showers, right, also get you shivering a little bit, get your lymphatic system moving around, things like that.
I mean, Wim Hof would be a great guy to look into if you really want to know a little bit more about, like, say, things of that sort, oxygen levels to your muscles, all that good stuff with those cold showers. That's where it starts.
And just do these things for small amounts of time, too, at first, right? You don't have to go, full into it, right? Start maybe an hour with your shoes off, right?
Yeah, maybe finish your shower with the cold part.
Yeah, maybe
do the whole
finish it.
shower. The last little bit, you try to stay in the cold as long as you can.
Yeah, try like 2 or 3 minutes in that cold as long as you can. And then when it comes to being on the floor, start with 5 or 10 minutes. Don't go straight to 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? Start real small, and then this stuff will start to build up a little bit.
And think about it a little bit too. The more you are uncomfortable, the more you are grateful for things that are. You're going to notice it a lot more. You're going to appreciate a lot more. You're going to be in the moment with it a lot more. It's not going to just be like, I'm going to go home and sit on the couch.
Yeah, it's no longer an everyday.
It's going to be something that you get to do. It's going to be the excitement versus just always having that be there and having issues for it.
Yeah, just always, because you kind of get used to it. And
Yeah.
You're just like, it's just what I do, right?
Yeah.
Versus then going in and going, oh, man, this feels really good.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
It's kind of like you never know what a good vacation is until you work a little bit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, you enjoy that, savor that vacation a little more than if you didn't work.
Exactly. Exactly.
So cold showers is a huge thing. The other thing is, just being okay being hungry, right?
Yeah.
It's the other thing, about seeking discomfort is if you're hungry, right? Just ask yourself, when's the last time I've been hungry for 4 hours, right?
In the last 10 years.
And I guarantee you after about probably 30 minutes or so, your hunger will subside.
Yep.
I mean, that happens all the time, especially in my fast. So like intermittent fasting is a great way to start to do that, right? I think doing like a 16-8 fast, right? So 16 hours fasting, 8-hour eating window. That's a great place to start there.
Yeah, you don't need to eat if you're just hungry. I mean, it might if you're hungry, it could even start with just drinking some water. So for our comfort, we always want to just take care of it real quick. Oh, I feel good if I eat this real quick. I feel good if I just snack on this. And like what you're saying is, I work with a lot of people where I introduce the intermittent fasting, and people have tons of results because most of the time people eat for 12, 13, 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time of eating. So how do you think your body's processing that?
Yeah. Or people will sit there after their meal and they'll be like, I'm so bloated. And it's like, well, go for a 10-minute walk. Do something active after you eat. And people are like, well, I better wait a minute. No, it's like, go start doing that right now.
Yeah.
Activity after eating meals has been shown to be 10 times more effective of sugar absorption of the muscle than metformin.
Oh, yeah. Just your digestive system benefits from a 5-minute walk. Benefit to the point where, like, say you have a lot of cramping and bloating. If you start to implement after you eat dinner, a 5-minute walk afterwards, that will start to subside, probably substantially, if not go away.
Yeah, absolutely. So just doing small things to seek discomfort to make you better, right? We're not saying seek discomfort just because, right? But we're telling you to seek it because it's going to make you a better version of yourself, because all of a sudden you're going to be able to go through things that you didn't think you could go through.
Yeah.
And you're going to be a better worker, probably a better father, right? A better husband, better wife, right? Just it can bleed over into all different kind of areas to your life when you start to go, okay, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, right? When I'm in the shower and I have a nice warm shower, everything in my being saying, don't turn that thing to cold, right? But I do it anyway, and I stand there and I just grit, and it's like, I'm not going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to be uncomfortable.
It's just a little bit of mental game.
Absolutely.
What we got to do is we got to think of it as filling our levels up. Let's fill that uncomfortable level up, because we're constantly filling the comfortable level up. So it's way above the uncomfortable level. And then what happens is we end up dealing with a ton of uncomfortability because of what we have sacrificed for comfortability. So if we sacrificed a little bit more in uncomfortability and leveled it out between the two of them, then you won't have those big, like, all of a sudden you need back surgery because you've been sitting this way for 10 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden now because you've been walking in these shoes all the time, now your ACL is torn right up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your meniscus is all garbage.
There's no way for it to come back, whatever it is. So, but if you were a little uncomfortable before, that might not be an issue later on.
Absolutely. So to take away, a few takeaways from this conversation me and Joe are having. One, just start a couple hours a day, maybe 1 hour a day walking barefoot, wearing some Vibrams or wearing minimalist shoes, and then just start to gradually bring that up. Don't sit in the couch chair all the time. Spend 5-10 minutes a day on the floor. This is a good place to start, right? And then the other things is, look for a cold shower once in a while, maybe 3 minutes, right? Have your nice warm shower, and all of a sudden take like a 3-minute cold shower.
If you don't normally go on a hike and your friend's like, hey, you want to join me on this hike this weekend? Do it.
Yep.
Don't avoid it.
If you're feeling full after your meal, go for a 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
Anyway, my name's Coach Chris. That's Joe Ruggiero. How do we get a hold of you, Joe?
So you can hit me up. Give me a call, 802-384-9992, or you can reach me at dkstrong719@gmail.com.
And always, you can reach me at cerebraledgeperformance.com, or if you have questions for the show, just go cerebraledge1, 1, @gmail.com. This has been the Cerebral Edge on Power Talk 1040. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope what you heard today will help make you at least 1% better, because 1% every day adds up, doesn't it? That is exciting. Join me next weekend right here on Power Talk 1040. I'm Coach Chris. Until then, stay strong.
This has been the Cerebral Edge on KPPF. Have a question for Coach Chris? Email him at cerebraledge1 @gmail.com. That's Cerebral Edge, 1, @gmail.com. Join us next Saturday at 1 p.m. and Sunday at 10:30 a.m. for another episode of the Cerebral Edge with Coach Chris on Power Talk 1040 KPPF.